Glick. I had a dream, as we all did, I suspect. Someone came to me and promised to protect me, while claiming that the parasite could empower me. The parasite has taken root, it would seem. Every word, every promise, it is gate deception. A wise choice. These parasites are a threat to be destroyed, not an opportunity to be exploited.
I had a wild dream last night. This beautiful entity came to me, promised to protect me, told me the parasite in our heads could give us power. It was. And it seems so, not real, but not a dream either. Anyway, I told the entity to make tracks. I don't need anything else from this tadpole, thanks very much. Funny you should ask. I was just thinking about what would have become of us without that nautiloid. I mean, I know where I'd be. Trapped in Avernus still, with the Blade of Frontiers on my tail. But what about you? Oh, man. Lucky you. That's the dream. Maybe when this is all done, you can show me where you came from. My family home's long gone, but I'll show you my favorite chow hall in the city, if it's still standing.
Did you have any strange dreams of late? Vivid ones? Damn. I was hoping my imagination had gotten the better of me. But this must be something more. This dream companion wanted me to use the tadpole, use its power. Whoever it was claimed to be an ally, but I don't know. It seems like we can't escape this mess, in the waking world or otherwise. I'm sure you do, but please try to understand that it's not something I can just talk about freely. Very well. Perhaps there's potential in you. Let's see how you handle this. I am indeed a disciple of Shah, Mistress of the Night and Lady of Loss. I assume you've heard of her? My Lady Shah is the Night Singer, the patron of darkness and loss. Most fear the dark, like children, because in darkness they see their fears reflected. But Shah teaches us to step beyond fear, beyond loss. In darkness, we do not hide. We act. Pain, hope, the promise of better days. All of these are heavy cloaks that bend our backs and burden our hearts. We shed those cloaks. Before Shah, we stand gloriously naked, beyond the vanities of mortals. We tear down the lies the world is drunk on. The institutions they trust, the so-called gods they worship, the lives they cling to. We destroy false idols, topple corrupt organizations, fight heretics wherever they're found. There's often suffering, death even. Many people break before they embrace Shah's truths. You're wiser than most. Many people balk at our doctrine. It's the reason why we cherish secrecy. You've a habit of saying all the right things. Either you're very glib or we're kindred spirits. Maybe both, knowing myself. But yes, once we've saved ourselves, we can talk more on this. Quite the understatement, but yes, I have it. And I'll guard it with my life. Then so be it. I did my duty. As for the artifact, it's powerful, and has a mind of its own sometimes. You'd better hope you're up to bearing it. Don't forget what it was like when you heard the voice. It'll only get worse if you don't have the artifact to protect you. It's called faith. Duty. It doesn't have to add up to me as long as I serve. I'm part of a bigger plan. One that will be revealed in time. How cynical. I should borrow that line sometime. But if I have to die, so be it. Like I said, faith. Because it's safer that way. We had our memories suppressed before the mission. That way, none of us could betray the Dark Lady if we were captured. Shah's secrets must be protected. Duty demands it. Once I fulfill my mission, I can have my memories restored. The wound on my hand. It never quite heals. And sometimes it causes terrible pain to rip through me. It's my burden, though, from Lady Shah. I can feel her influence somehow. It's difficult to say. Sometimes I wonder if it's supposed to be guiding me, punishing me, testing me. But perhaps it's none of those. Perhaps it's completely random. I'd like to hope there's more to it than that. Some meaning that Lady Shah will reveal to me when the time is right. Until then, all I can do is endure. I cannot say. Not with what I can recall. But even then, it would not be for me to question her will. Lady Shah has her reasons. I don't think so, but you're sweet to ask. Maybe just be patient the next time you see me wince or cry out. It'll pass quickly enough. It always does. Pain is sacred to followers of Lady Shah. Pain will give way to loss and then to the peace of her eternal darkness. You can tolerate a great deal of suffering so long as it has meaning. I'll try my best. But secrecy is ingrained in me. Lady Shah considers it greater protection than any shield or armor. I think I know what you mean. There's an undeniable rapport, and yet we haven't made time for each other. Time alone. Easily remedied, if you like. I know a place. Not just yet. Let's choose our moment. Some quiet night, when the others are asleep and there's no distractions, I'll come for you. You already know my biggest secrets. What more can you ask? What, besides my life's calling and the greatest problem I've ever faced? Well, I like night orchids and can't swim. Is that the sort of thing you meant? It's a deal. No, I can't. Quite literally, I mean. With my memories suppressed, I can't betray Shah's secrets. But I can't remember much of myself either. If I manage to return to Baldur's Gate and fulfill Shah's mission, then my memories will be restored. Of course. It is an act of faith, not to be undertaken lightly. Shah will reward me when I succeed.
I had the strangest dream last night. There was a visitor promising me protection and all sorts of delicious powers from the parasites in our heads.
Given our shared affliction, I suppose you had a similar dream. Excellent. Now we can see what these tadpoles can do for us.
Is there a reason you're such an utter drip? I mean, do you have some sort of condition? Honestly, it's like you hate good news.
Did you actually want something, or are you just here to spoil my fun?
Excuse me? Not every monster hunter we stumble across is trying to kill me. Then again, we're not exactly keeping a low profile out here. Fine, I'll bite. What did he look like? A Gur? What are those vagabonds? Why would they... Cazador. Of course he'd send a Gur to hunt me down. Cazador Zar is a vampire lord in Baldur's Gate. The patriarch of his coven and a monster obsessed with power. He turned me nearly 200 years ago. I became his spawn, and he became my tormentor. They may have no idea who they're working for. Cazador likely paid someone to pay someone to call in a favor, and here we are. He doesn't do simple plans. Not if he has a complex one that pits a dozen enemies against each other. No. This hunter is a message. Cazador's letting me know that even out here, he can get to me. He wants me back. Maybe he wants to make an example of me, to show what happens to runaways. Or maybe he thinks death is too good for me. Concerned? Do you know the power a vampire lord possesses? He can change shape, turn into mist, call wolves to do his bidding, shrug off blows like they're nothing. He could walk into our camp tonight and kill you with his bare hands. And you'd be lucky if death was the worst thing that happened to you. First, we have to...
I don't know. Well, if we kill his lackeys, he'll just send more.
We just have to be vigilant, keep our wits about us, and kill any monster hunters on sight. I won't lie. It's tempting. If I keep the tadpole, I risk transforming into a grotesque monster. If I lose the tadpole, Cazador has control of me, body and soul, and I return to the shadows. It's grim either way. So why not sell what's left of my soul to a devil? Better he has it than Cazador. I'm glad to hear it. Whatever's coming, we need to keep our options open.
The goblins still... As long as their leaders live, Zevlor's people are trapped. Not so enchanting as you'd think. The Portiers, the Caldwells, they were the blue bloods hosting the fancy balls and drinking from gold goblets. Father's the son of a blacksmith, born with barely a coin in the coffers. He made a name for himself among the Flaming Fist, brave as Baldur and stubborn as a deep Rothay, daring, outspoken, but hardly posh. I spent more time dueling with Father than I did rubbing elbows with lords. Not to say I didn't develop a taste for good wine and a talent for courtly dance. It's been a badger's age since I've twinkled my toes. A drunk ogre could put on a better show. It's for the best. I take a tumble and splat. There goes my good eye. It's said that anyone who bathes in the river of blood emerges as one born anew. It's a lot like that, I imagine. I feel the weight of these horns on my head, curling upwards like a mammoth's tusks. I feel these ridges snaking down my neck, not to mention a few bumps and prongs in unmentionable places. But I haven't seen my reflection just yet. Be my mirror. What do you see? It's because you know the heart lurking under the horns. The people will see a curiosity, maybe even a beast hungry for their souls. But I will slay their monsters, keep them safe, and one day they will see the Blade of Frontiers again. He brings to mind a story. The Devil with the Silver Tongue. An old fairy tale my father read to me. The kind with a hero, a villain, and a moral. A farmer made a deal with the devil, so the story goes. In exchange for the farmer's dearest fruit, the devil granted him a bottomless coin purse. The farmer's dearest fruit, naturally, was no apple nor peach, but his beloved daughter. We can learn a lot from fairy tales, don't you think? Refuse him, no matter how tempting the offer, no matter how delicious the feast he lays out for you. The cost will be too great. That's because you still have hope. But when he becomes your last hope, remember this. He'll require of you only what you're least ready to part with, and then require more still. You might think you'd give up anything for a cure, but the devil won't take just anything. He'll take everything. A possibility that's kept me awake countless nights. But I don't have a clue where to start, other than play her games and play by the rules. That's the only language devils listen to. It could well be. She has the blighted thing. What I know of it is simply what has engraved itself upon my memory. My contract is very clear. I can bring Mizora no harm. She'll have to let me out of my pact willingly. The only way out is if I can out-bargain her. We're standing here with nothing but the clothes on our backs and the worms in our heads. that has been its tragedy. I've saved so many with the talents of the blade. And without the pact, I'm just a man. And what good is my blade then when it's too dull to split monsters? What good is a flame when a mere breath snuffs it out? My father once said, "One does not pursue a champion's life. One merely answers its call." So it was for me. After my exile, I was hunting near the Cloakwood. I heard a child crying out from a lone farmstead. I found him in the fields, flanked by goblins. His mother's corpse bled into the soil next to him. I don't remember much of the battle, but I remember drying the boy's tears after. I left him with his uncles. 5 years on, and he's flourishing. If only every child was so lucky. I mourn the ones I could never save, whose cries I never heard. In the boy's tears, I finally saw the suffering wrought by the villains of the wild. The frontiers demanded a blade, and so I heeded. And it's nice to meet someone of your talents. Having a worm wriggling in my skull didn't instill much confidence in the days ahead. With you as my ally, the future looks a little less daunting.
My condition is worsening again. I need to consume some powerful magic or it may become volatile. Thank you. It is a strange experience. Each time anew, like a lost soul is spelunking through the darkness that is me, only to be sacrificed on the dread altar of the heart. Somehow the second artifact hasn't had the effect of the first. It's somewhat relieved the discomfort, but I fear my hunger hasn't quite... Ever the pragmatist in chief, aren't you? The magic isn't having the effect it should have. It's not like the last time, like a rainstorm that quells a forest fire. It merely drizzles. The embers still sizzle, the fire remains undefeated. I'm not certain what's going on, but nothing good. Please, I need to think. I need to retrace my steps to a glade of calm and think. Thank you for the artifact. A great deal of trouble it was, too. A great deal of trouble indeed.
Ah, my good fellow. Quite the cozy setup you have here. I'll just make myself comfortable. Thank you so much. I was just settling in and reviewing my latest findings. Mind flayers, cultists, and, of course, your esteemed company. Why, I'm practically an expert. They've tentacles, you know. Quite shocking. The druid Halson had some kind of mind flayer specimen in a jar in his quarters. A replica, no doubt, but truly fascinating to see up close. Here, on the Sword Coast. Impossible. That's quite impossible. You'd have undergone ceramorphosis by now. You say were true. You'd be a mind flayer by now. You? Infected by a mind flayer? Ridiculous. Isn't it? Still, there'd be no harm in me taking a teensy look, would there? I know all the signs. If I just peer in your eye, I could quickly... Oh, my dear sweet gods! I mean, yes. I suppose I can. I'll need to research the particulars, however. Give me a bit of time, and I'll have this little issue sorted.
Look at where the Absolutes love gotten. Dead! Thanks for breaking me out. Gonna find me a new tribe. One that appreciates the old ways.
Indolence breeds madness.
All's well that ends. Well, not as bad as it could have.
You've set foot in a restricted area. A swift exit may be in order. You've been granted free passage. What you do with that privilege is up to you.
That's curious. Looks like all these moon plates can be turned. That might be worth a look.
Beautiful. Lethal. The Underdark is everything I thought it'd be.
And this environ seems worthy of a Githyanki warrior's estimation.
Ah, to be deemed worthy by the great Lae'zel of Kresh Kalir.
Continue as you have, Karlach, and you will achieve the same.